National Broadcasting Company presents Radio City Playhouse, Attraction 11.
Hollywood, California, Monday, June 29th.
Presents the finest in motion picture entertainment, Academy Award.
From Hollywood, Skippy, America's largest selling peanut butter.
Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and Jimmy Stewart.
The Lux Radio Theater welcomes you all.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Drama and Theater, brought to you by Dwayne Old Time Radio. Before we get to today's drama, if you enjoy what I'm doing, let me ask you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is 100% free, and you will receive notifications on new posts. Lastly, if you have a moment, write a short 1 or 2 sentence review or give a rating on your preferred podcast service. A positive review or rating would help me out a lot. And now, on to the show. Oh yeah, and thanks for your support. I really do appreciate it. 2 eps by Lux Theater, as always, to start the month. We are now in September, and summer's coming to an end, at least here in the U.S. We're going to start with Madam X, starring James Stewart and Anne Harding, June 14th, 1937. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2025. We start the year with Lux Radio Theater, 2 episodes. Alibi Ike, starring Joe E. Brown and Helen Chandler, April 19th, 1937. Then Magnificent Obsession with Robert Taylor and Irene Dunne, April 26th, 1937. Again, Happy New Year. I wish everyone a healthy New Year.
Hollywood, California, Monday, April 19th. The Lux Radio Theater presents Joey Brown, Helen Chandler, Roscoe Carnes, and William Frawley in Alibi Ike. Lux presents Hollywood. Our stars, Joey Brown, Helen Chandler, Roscoe Carnes, and William Frawley. Our guests, Mr. and Mrs. Babe Ruth, and Russell Patterson, one of America's most famous artists. Our producer, Hollywood's foremost citizen, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille. Our conductor, Louis Silvers. This hour of Hollywood stars and personalities comes to you direct from the Lux Radio Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, with good wishes from the makers of Lux Flakes. To everyone, a hearty welcome. Before we start Alibi Ike, I have a tip for the ladies. You don't have to find alibis for Lux Flakes. From time to time, it seems to me I've heard women say, "This dress has never looked the same since I washed it." But I never heard them say that about Lux Flakes. As a matter of fact, I have a letter here about a dress that took first prize in a contest after it had been luxed 9 times. This friend in Massachusetts writes, "I made my 8-year-old daughter a dress of very sheer voile. After the dress had been worn and washed for the 9th time in Lux, I noticed a contest for sewing. Appearance of material was a big factor. My daughter's dress looked so good to me that I entered it in the contest. It won first prize. That was 2 years ago. The dress is still in use and looks splendid, thanks to Lux." When you have a Lux dress winning over brand new ones, that's something. It just goes to prove, as the makers of Lux Flakes have always said, that any material that is safe in water alone is safe in Lux. And now our producer, ladies and gentlemen, director of more than 60 pictures, discoverer of many stars, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow afternoon, when thousands of baseball fans storm grandstands throughout the country, cheering the opening of the 1937 season, they'll be honoring, quite unconsciously, a boy from Cooperstown, New York. 98 years ago, the boy borrowed a few ideas from a game known as rounders, some from another pastime labeled one old cat, and adding a few of his own, gave the nation its most beloved sport, baseball. The boy was Abner Doubleday. Abner had his day, and it was a doubleheader. He not only threw out the first ball in the first baseball game, he aimed the first shot fired from Fort Sumter in the war between the states, in which he became a general. It's to Abner the schoolboy and the game he created that the Lux Radio Theater tonight pays tribute in presenting Joe E. Brown, Helen Chandler, Roscoe Carnes, and William Frawley in Alibi Ike. Our play is based on the Warner Brothers picture, which was based on the story by Ring Lardner, making a 2-base hit. Put Lardner's dialogue in the mouth of Joe E. Brown, and there it enjoys a range and scope I am sure no other actor could provide. Joe warmed a bench with the New York Yankees for about 4 years and comes to us tonight as Frank Alibi Ike Farrell. In the part of Dolly, making her 5th appearance before our microphone, is one of the most accomplished and lovely young ladies of the theater and screen, Miss Helen Chandler, applauded recently on Broadway in Pride and Prejudice and Lady Precious Stream. She played in London in Boy Meets Girl and is now starring in the same comedy on Hollywood's legitimate stage. With Joe from the original picture cast, we welcome Roscoe Carnes, to whom I gave his first important part, as Carey, and William Frawley as Cap Finley. And now, let's dust off the Lux Radio Theater's home plate. The players are walking onto the field. The batteries, Joe E. Brown, Helen Chandler, Roscoe Carnes, and William Frawley in Alibi Ike. Batter up. Play ball. We go back a few weeks before the opening of the baseball season. Throughout the country is heard the old familiar thud of the ball in the glove, the sharp crack of the bat as a stinging grounder zips over the infield. In Winter Haven, Florida, the Chicago Cubs are preparing for the National League pennant race. Near the players' dugout, Cap Finley, the manager, is talking to the owner, who is optimistic about the team's prospects.
All right, stick it right in there, Shorty.
I see it, Mike. That's the way. Here you are.
If I can make a prophecy the first day of the season, Cap, I have a good hunch we're going to finish a lot stronger this year than last.
Yeah, well, we couldn't finish much worse than 8th.
I have every confidence in you personally, Cap, and I've convinced the other stockholders to let you work it out your own way.
Thanks, Tom. I wish you'd convince them not to sell Pennock.
Well, you're sure to find a pretty likely pitcher among the 10 new rookies. Why, there's one boy alone, Farrell, struck out 20 men in one game last year.
Sure. He was with the Holgate Terriers, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But did they claim Lou Gehrig was playing against him in Holgate last year? I'll bet I'll have to ring a cowbell to get him off the field.
Well, I'm pinning my hopes on this Farrell boy. If he's as good as they say he is...
Well, wait till he shows up, Tom. That'll be time enough for prophecies.
Telegram for you, Mr. Finley.
Oh, thanks. Let's see it, Mike. I never had a telegram yet that wasn't, well, for the...
What is it?
Get this. It's from your white hope, Farrell. Listen. Reporting today. Sorry I was late, but my calendar was wrong.
What?
Oh, his calendar was wrong. Now, there's an alibi for you. Maybe you can pin your hopes to that.
Well, it doesn't sound very encouraging.
It sounds to me like we're taking on a screwball.
Well, try not to worry, Cap. It'll all turn out. I'll see you up at the hotel.
Okay, Tom. All right, you guys, get going in there. Come on, Terry. Come on, Mac. Come on, get hustling in there. This ain't no junior prom, you know. What the? Get that car out of here, will you? Get off the field, you bonehead. Get that. Hey!
Hello, boys. Say, what are you trying to do? Let me at him.
Now, wait a minute, boys. Wait a minute, will you? I'll take care of this guy. Get back to work there, you fellas. Go on, now, all of you. Get back in there, I tell you.
No hard feelings, boys. After all, I didn't hit nobody.
Now, listen, you. Take that sardine can you're driving and get out of here before I kill you.
Hey, maybe you don't realize who I am.
Oh, yes, I do. You're Ty Cobb, but you got your face lifted to fool the pitchers. Now, listen to me. This is a ball club, and you're on the field. Beat it.
Wait a minute. Ain't no ball club without a pitcher, unless they've changed the rules this year.
Well, they've changed them, but not enough to let you into the park unless you're on a leash. Now, get out of here.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm on the team. My name is Farrell.
Farrell?
Sure. Frank X. Farrell.
Well,
Why didn't you come in through the gate and give your name at the office?
Well, I was afraid if I let on who I was, all the help would quit work and come out and watch me. That's what used to happen when I played with the Holgate Terriers.
Oh, I see. Is that why you put on a disguise?
Disguise? Hey, this ain't no disguise. This is my baseball suit.
You don't say.
Yep.
Well, you ought to put a sign on it so folks would know.
Hey, that's a good one, mister. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Where are you going?
I'm going out and slug a few.
Never mind that. Come over here and loosen up your arm.
Well, all right. You want me to loosen it? Gosh, it's as loose as goose grease right now.
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah?
Handle a few for this guy, will you?
Sure.
Yeah, wait a minute. You better put a batter up there, too. Give me something to aim at.
All right, Farrell. Toss up a couple.
Sure. What'd you like to see first? My zipper or my clipper?
Well, now, I don't know. Just suppose you just try your fadeaway speedball with a slow-up twist and a drop hook on the end.
Sure. That's my special. Well, there she goes.
Hey, easy on the speed, wise guy.
What's the matter, catcher? Sting your hands?
Hey, Farrell, your calendar is still wrong. This ain't July.
I know it. It's hot in July.
Well, your arm ain't going to be hot in July if you don't take it easy.
I am taking it easy. I never open up the first few weeks.
Oh, look at that wind-up.
Boy, if you ain't open now. Say, how many games did you win last year?
Only 28. Had malaria most of the season.
Malaria, huh? Well, where can I send the rest of my pitchers to get it?
Huh?
Never mind. Okay, Kerry.
All right, Cap.
Come on over here, Farrell, and let's see you hit a few.
Well, wait, I ain't warm yet. I could do this all day.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to save the catcher.
Oh.
Grab a bat there. Hey, Tex.
Yeah?
Whip up a couple here, will you?
Sure.
Go ahead, Farrell.
Well, I never hit my best on Wednesdays.
Now, don't you worry about that. I'll cancel all our Wednesday games.
That's a good one, Cap.
Just show us how you hit on the 4th of July when it comes in leap year.
Sure. Okay, pitcher. Come on. Throw her in there and put something on that potato. Come in. Holy.
Boy, what a clout. Over the fence, boys.
Well, I told you I wasn't so good on Wednesdays.
Yeah, it only cleared the fence by about 8 feet, that's all.
Well, I twisted my ankle when I swung. Say, when I'm in form, I can clear that fence by 30 feet every time. And if I don't clear it...
And if you don't clear it, then what?
I'll knock a hole in it.
One moment, please. Hello, Winterhaven Hotel. I'll see if he's in. Hello.
Paging, Mr. Sullivan. Paging, Mr. Blake.
I tell you, Cap, this guy Farrell is the best rookie pitcher I ever saw. Why, he's terrific. That was only an exhibition game this afternoon, Tom. But he was good. Why, he struck out 12 men. Yeah. He looks good pitching strikes. But the first wild pitch he ever throws will cost us the game. Huh? What do you mean? The game will be called for darkness while he still apologizes.
Yes, hello, Cap. Oh, are you ready to go, Cap?
Yeah, sure. Tom, you know my wife. Of course. How are you, Mrs. Finley?
Fine, thanks.
And this is my sister-in-law, Dolly Stevens, Mr. Johnson.
How do you do?
How do you do? Well, if you folks will excuse me.
Sure. We were just going to the movies.
Have a good time. See you in the morning, Cap. Okay.
Something on his mind, Cap?
No. We were just talking about Farrell. Did you see the game this afternoon?
Oh, I did. And I can tell you right now the women are going to love him. He's awfully cute.
Who?
Why, Farrell, the rookie pitcher.
Cute. Come on, let's go.
Wait a minute. We've got to get someone for Dolly.
Oh, okay. Who do you like, Dolly?
Cap, you're as blind as an umpire. Can't you see she's crazy to meet Farrell?
Crazy to meet... Well, she'd have to be.
Now, but Bess, I didn't... Go on, Cap. Round him up.
All right. The last I saw of him, he was heading for the billiard room with Mac and Carrie. I'll see if I can find him.
Well, that's a nice shot, Carrie.
Yeah, now let me see now. The 11 ball in the side pocket. Say, Farrell, is it absolutely necessary for you to crack peanuts while I'm making a shot?
Well, it's necessary for me to crack them if I want to eat them.
But not while I'm making a shot.
Well, all right, go ahead, Mr. Carey. You don't bother me none.
You missed, Carey.
Yeah,
well, who wouldn't miss a guy cracking peanuts? All right, your shot, Farrell.
Well, let's see. What's the layout? Gosh, looks pretty impossible, don't it?
Now, wait a minute. Call your shot.
Gosh, I can't see so very good without my spectacles.
Well, why don't you wear them then?
Gosh, I never thought of that. There, that's a lot better. Let's see now. The 4 ball in the side pocket, the 8 in the corner, the 6 down on the end, and any others that happen to fall.
What? You'll never make it.
Well, a man can only try.
Holy smoke.
5 balls in 1 shot.
Is that all? This stick must be crooked.
Say, I'd use a hockey stick if I could make shots like that.
Well, I quit. I'm not playing with no champion.
Now, wait a minute, Kerry, wait a minute. Hey, let me see those spectacles of yours, Farrell.
Sure. Here you are.
I thought so. There ain't even any glass in them.
I know it. I had to take the glass out on account of hurt my eyes. Guess I'll put this cue back in the rack.
He'd like to go to bed, but he can't think up an excuse.
Well, guess I'll say goodnight, boys. I ain't sleepy, but got some gravel in my shoes, and it's just killing my feet.
I should think they'd take them gravel pits out of the billiard room.
Hey, that's a good one, Mr. Carey.
Hey, Farrell.
Yeah, Cap?
Come here, will you?
Sure. Good night, fellas.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Oh, boy. That guy is the original Alibi Ike.
Yeah, he's got an alibi no matter what he does, good or bad.
Yeah, but at that, he ought to make us a good man, Kerry.
Yeah, unless that gravel in his shoes brings back his malaria and throws his eyes out of focus so he can't read the calendar and find the home plate.
So we thought you'd like to come along with us, Farrell. It's a swell picture.
Well, I'd like to, Cap, only...
You ain't turning in yet.
Who, me? No. But I ought to stay around the hotel in case there's a telegram.
Why, you expecting one?
No, not exactly. But there's a lots of times that comes when you ain't expecting them.
Oh, here's the girls now.
Oh, you all set, Cap? Oh, evening, Mr. Farrell.
Good evening, Mrs. Finley.
Come here, Dolly. I guess you recognize Farrell from seeing him play. This is my sister-in-law, Farrell, Dolly Stevens.
Huh?
How do you do, Mr. Farrell?
Well, guys, I mean, how do you do?
I hope you've been telling Cap you can go to the show with us tonight.
Well, sure
No,
I
he
can.
can't come, Dolly. He's got to stick around for a telegram.
Oh, yeah. But I guess it's no use anyway. You see, the office where that telegram might come from ain't open after 6 o'clock.
Oh, I see. Come on, folks. The car's outside.
Well, let's hop in and get going.
I like riding in a rumble seat. Don't you, Mr. Farrell? Some people don't, but I do.
Well, keeps you out in the fresh air. Ball players need a lot of fresh air, you know.
Yeah. I saw you play this afternoon. You struck out 12 men. Oh, it was wonderful.
I had an off day on account of my lumbago. Say, if I'd known you was watching, I'd have struck them all out.
Would you really?
Sure. I was just taking it easy because it was an exhibition game.
Oh, now you're just being modest.
No, I ain't modest. Only I don't never brag. Because if a guy has really got the stuff, he don't have to brag.
Uh-huh. I guess that's right.
Say, are you going to be around much? I mean, well, are you going to be around much?
Well, I'm staying for another week or so.
Oh, gosh, that's swell. Then maybe I can be seeing you around, around the hotel. That is, if you're going to be around much.
Well, yes, of course.
Well, maybe we can sort of get together, go to a show or out for a walk.
Oh, I just love to walk, Mr. Farrell, don't you?
Well, they say it's awful good exercise.
Mr. Short, paging Mr. Beaver.
Your deal, Mac.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Kerry. Kerry, look who's coming across the lobby. Alibi Ike himself.
I'll bet he's got another date with the Cap's sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Hiya there, Ike.
Oh, hello, fellas.
Where you going, Ike?
Oh, no place special. Just out.
Well, it's raining cats and dogs, Ike. You'll get soaked.
Oh, I don't mind that. Nothing like walking in the rain to keep your arm in shape.
Well, how about Mac and I coming with you?
Yeah. No, you better not. You fellas might get a cold.
Oh, Francis, I'm ready to go if you are, Francis.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, so long, boys. This way, Miss Stevens.
All right, Francis.
Did you get that? Francis. He's alibied himself out of his name.
If you're getting wet, we can go back to the hotel, Francis.
Gosh, no. I like sitting in the rain with you.
The park is kind of deserted.
Sure. That's why I like it.
Yeah, I like it, too.
Do you? No kidding?
Yes, Francis.
Oh, gee, I wish...
What?
I wish you wasn't going north tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, but the team's leaving in a few days, too. You know you're crazy for the season to begin. Oh, I do hope the team does well, Francis. Cap's whole future depends on this season.
Oh, Cap ought to stop worrying. I feel fine.
I just can't wait to read about your winning that opening game.
Yeah, but you won't be there to see it.
No. Oh, I hate going home and leaving... leaving the club. You'll write to me, won't you?
Right? Oh, sure. But gee, Dolly, I wish I could tell you.
What, Francis?
Well, how much
How much you what?
Well, how much I...
Why, Francis, you're getting a cold.
No. I ain't...
Oh, come on, Francis. We've got to get back to the hotel.
Well, I guess maybe we got to go back. I'd hate to ruin the team's chances by getting sick. Well, Dolly, your train ought to be here pretty soon now.
Yes, pretty soon.
Of course, sometimes they're late, you know.
Yeah, they don't always run on time, do they?
No, you see, sometimes they get behind in their schedules.
Oh, I see. And that's what makes them late.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Gosh, Dolly, I wish this train wouldn't never come.
Oh, do you really, Francis?
Yeah. Oh, gee, Dolly. Oh, gosh, there it comes, and it's right on time.
Oh, then I guess it isn't late.
No, right on time, just like I said.
Well? Francis, I think there's something in my eye. Would you look?
Sure. Wait till I get my handkerchief. Which eye is it?
Oh, you'll have to come closer, Francis, much closer. Francis. Well, Francis?
I don't see nothing.
Oh, well, never mind. I guess it's all right now.
Say, I wish you'd keep my handkerchief, though. You might get something in the other eye.
Yeah, but you might need it.
No, not me. Say, when I see something coming, I always duck.
Oh.
And anyway, I'd kind of like to have you keep it, in case you need it.
I'd love to keep it, Francis.
Oh, gee, that's great. Well,
I guess there's nothing more to say.
No, I guess that's about... No, it ain't either.
Oh, Francis.
Dolly, I gotta tell you something. I hope you don't get mad or nothing, but...
Yeah, go on, Francis, quickly.
Dolly, listen. Listen, Dolly, because it's awful important.
Oh, Francis, hurry.
Dolly, I...
Francis, I've gotta go.
No, I... Dolly.
Oh, goodbye, Francis.
No, Wait.
Goodbye.
Wait, Dolly, wait, Ike. Dolly, listen, Ike. Shucks.
We will continue with Alibi Ike in just a moment. kitchen shower the girls are giving for Betty Ann, who is to be married on June 5th.
You girls are perfect darlings to give me all these grand shiny pans and things.
Look, there's still a package you haven't opened.
So there is. Why, it's a big box of Lux Flakes. And here's a card. It says, the most valuable thing I could give you. Ask me why. Signed, Helen. All right, Helen, tell us.
When the girls told me about your shower, Betty, I said to myself, there's one thing this old married woman has found out, and I think it's something a bride should know.
I'm all ears. Out with it.
Well, you may not think it's not important now, but honestly, it makes a big difference how you wash your dishes.
Oh.
No, really, I mean it. There's just no romance in dishpan hands. Men may respect them, but they don't admire them. So, my advice to you is to steer clear of kitchen soaps for dishes. I found them very drying. Sooner or later, they give you dishpan hands. But you can bet your life, Lux never will.
Thanks a lot, darling. I'll stick to Lux.
Remember, Lux has no harmful alkali, nothing to dry and roughen the skin, and it costs next to nothing, hardly 1 cent a day for all your dishes. And now, Mr. DeMille.
On with the story of Alibi Ike, starring Joey Brown, Helen Chandler, Roscoe Carnes, and William Frawley. It's 2 weeks later, the night before the big opening game. In his hotel room in Boston, Alibi Ike Farrell is sprawled face down across the bed, reading a letter. The letter is from Dolly Stevens, and Ike's expression is the essence of bliss as he reads softly.
Dear Francis, I'm so thrilled I can hardly write. Bess tells me that Cap may let you pitch the opening game. How I wish I could be there to see you win. Gosh.
Hiya, Ike.
Hiya, boy. Oh, hello, fellas. Hiya, Carrie. Hiya, Mac.
Say, what are you reading there, Ike?
This? Oh, it's just a kind of a letter.
A bill?
No, it's not exactly a bill. It's a letter from a fella I used to go to school with.
Thought you told us you never went to school.
Yeah, but this wasn't no school. It was a college.
Well, how could you have gone to college if you didn't go to school?
I didn't. It was the other fella that went to college. I would have went, but there wasn't no college where I lived.
No? Thought you said you lived in Kansas City.
Well, I did, but we moved.
Uh-huh. Where'd you move to?
Nebraska.
Well, they got colleges there, ain't they?
Yeah, well, we didn't live right in Nebraska. Near there.
Oh. Say, you get one of them letters every day. What does your friend write you so much about?
Oh, he's telling me about a ball player, a friend of ours. Tells me what he does every day.
Yeah? That looks like a girl's writing to me.
Well, a girl did write it. You see, that's my friend's sister writing for him.
Well, didn't they teach writing at this college where he went?
Sure, but he got his hand cut off in a railroad wreck.
Well, I should think he'd have learned to write with his left hand by this time.
Well, it's his left hand that's cut off. And he was left-handed. Good night, boys.
Yeah, good night.
Paper! Cubs win opener. Harold pitches no-hit game. Here you are. Read all about it.
Hey, y'all, paper! Farrell wins 14 straight games. Paper!
Here you are. What do you read, paper? Harold wins again. Cubs in second place. Harold wins again.
And so you see, Dolly, Cubs and me has practically cinched the pennant. Almost. Period. Next 2 weeks we'll tell story, and as I will pitch 2 times in next 2 weeks, all is over but shouting. Semicola. Yeah, who is it? Come in.
Good evening, Mr. Farrell.
Hiya.
My name's Crawford. You don't know me, Mr. Farrell, but I'd go through fire and water to shake hands with you.
Oh, you don't have to go to all that trouble. I'm glad to shake hands with you.
Well, thanks. You're the best pitcher I ever saw.
Well, maybe I ain't the best, but I won an awful lot of games this year.
You sure have, boy. You're on your way to big money.
Yeah, but...
And you'll get it. You're a smart boy.
Well, it ain't only that I'm smart, just that I got the stuff that fools these other fellas.
You sure do.
Yep.
I guess there isn't anybody a guy like you couldn't fool. Mr. Farrell, I'd like to ask a real favor of you. I'm president of the Young Men's High Ideals Club. I guess you've heard about it, haven't you?
No. Not exactly.
There's one or two of our boys, we caught them drinking and things like that.
Drinking? Say they oughtn't to do that if they want to make good.
Well, now, that's just what I was telling them. And what they need is an example, Mr. Farrell. I want you to come over and meet them tonight and tell them some of the secrets of your success.
Well, mister, it's getting kind of late.
Yes, I know, but we're having a special night. In your honor, we're going to let the boys stay up until 10:30 if you'll just come and talk to them.
Well, okay, mister. I don't like to stay up late myself, but if it's to do good, I'm with you.
Oh, I knew I could count on you, Mr. Farrell. I've got my car right downstairs.
Get my hat here.
This is it, Mr. Farrell. Right up these steps.
You mean this is a house where they're holding a convention?
That's right.
Gosh, it's kind of dark, ain't it?
Right in here, Mr. Farrell. What did I tell you boys about smoking and drinking in my absence? Now put those bottles away and douse those cigarettes. And don't let this happen again.
Okay, Chief. Come on out with the butts, you mug. Come on out with them. Don't get all right, bust somebody in the snoot.
Yeah, wait a minute, boys. Your president is right. Where would I have been today if I'd have smoked?
I give up. Where?
Quiet, Muggsy. Boys, I had a little talk with Mr. Farrell on the way over, and he says his next two games are in the bag right now.
That's right, fellas. I can't lose.
Oh, no?
I neglected to tell Mr. Farrell that continuous winning is against the principles of the Young Men's High Ideals Club.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean, against the principles?
Well, you see, Mr. Farrell, our motto is live and let live. Now, what we'd like you to do is ease up a little in your next two games. Let the other team get a few hits once in a while. Maybe even let them win, just for the sport of it. That's the idea, isn't it, boys?
Certainly, that's the way.
Wait a minute.
That's what
Just a minute, boys. I know it couldn't be true, but this sounds like maybe you fellas was trying to bribe me or something.
Bribe you? Oh, no. Of course, we might make you a little present, say $10,000 or $12,000.
I see. Good night, boys.
Now, Mr. Farrell.
Now, wait a minute. Let me go. I'm wise to you fellas. You got me over here so as you could talk me into losing for you. You're nothing but a bunch of gamblers and cheats. Let me out of here.
Grab him, Lefty.
Come here, you.
Wait a minute. Out.
Now, Farrell, we don't want to be nasty about this, and you're interested in health, aren't you?
Well, sure I am.
Think a man ought to keep his strength up, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
Well, let me show you one of my strength secrets.
Ow! Hey, let go! Let go my arm.
Now, just imagine me doing that to your pitching arm, only finishing by breaking it off. Understand?
Ow! Let me go. I understood all the time. I just wanted to be sure you fellas wasn't kidding me.
Good.
That's all.
Now, here it is. We want you to lose your next two games. There's $12,000 in it for you. How about it?
Not on your...
What?
Well, sure. I know just what you mean.
You better. And remember, Farrell, this is your last chance for an easy lesson. You lose the next two games you pitch or else. Understand? Or else.
Telegram to Mr. Frank Farrell, Hotel Continental, Boston, Massachusetts. Dear Francis, arriving tonight to watch you win your next two games. Thrilled at thought of seeing you again. Signed, Dolly.
Francis, it's beautiful out here tonight. I love rowing.
You do? Well, I'll let you handle the oars for a while if you want.
Oh, no, I mean, well, just being out here on the lake with you.
Yeah, sure is nice.
Yeah. I'm glad we didn't go to the show with Cap and Bess.
So am I. We couldn't have seen the moon so good in there.
Is that the only reason you didn't want to go?
No. Gee, I wanted to be alone with you. I didn't want no other people around us.
Do you mean it, Francis?
Mean it? Gosh, I wish I could tell you how much I mean it. Dolly, I got something for you. Maybe that'll show you.
Oh, you got something for me?
Yep. Now, where is it? Let's see. Gosh, I had it right here in my vest pocket.
Oh, Francis, what is it?
Well, but first I want to ask you something.
Yes, Francis.
Dolly, do you like me well enough to be alone with me for a long time?
Forever, Francis.
You mean it?
Of course I do.
Sink or swim?
Yes, Francis, dear. Sink or swim.
Then look, Dolly.
Oh, Francis, don't stand up in the boat. Francis! Oh, Francis, where are you?
Help! Throw me a rope. I'm sinking.
Francis, try standing up.
Huh? Oh, gosh, I can stand up. Gosh, it's only up to my knees.
Are you all right?
Sure, but I'm all wet. Look, Dolly, here's what I had to give you. It's an engagement ring.
Oh, an engagement ring. Yeah. Oh, an engagement ring. Francis!
Look out. Dolly, don't stand up in the...
It's tipping over.
Gosh, now we're both all wet.
Hello, Hotel Continental. One moment, please. Hello, Hotel Continental.
So that's the sparkler. Well, it certainly is a peach, Dolly.
Oh, Bess, I'm so thrilled. Where is Francis? Do you know?
They're over in the card room with a couple of the boys. You going out tonight?
Well, we were going to the theater if the boys will let him get away. Yeah, I'd better go and call them all.
No, you ain't leaving yet, are you, Ike?
Sorry, fellas, but I just got to. Well, where are you going? Oh, just to the theater, I guess.
All by yourself?
No. Friend of mine's going with me.
Well, what do you say if we go along?
Yeah. Well, I ain't only got 2 tickets.
We can get some more seats.
They're all sold out.
Well, the scalpers will have some.
Sure. Yeah, but you don't want them. Show's rotten.
Well, I'll buy your tickets from you if you don't want them.
Nope. I wouldn't cheat you.
Well, say, what are you going to do with your girl? Leave her here at the hotel?
Girl? What girl?
The girl you had supper with.
Oh, her. Oh, gosh. She just happened to sit down on my table, that's all.
Uh-huh. Is that why you gave her that ring, for sitting down?
I give her the ring?
Well, didn't you?
No, I didn't exactly give it to her. I lent it to her.
Oh, yeah? Well, I wouldn't lend no ring to no strange girl if I was you.
Oh, I guess she's all right. I'm kind of tired of the rock anyway. When a girl asks you for something, well, what are you going to do? Well, so long, boys.
Now, wait a minute, Ike. I got a bet with Mac, and it's up to you to settle it. I bet that you and Dolly were engaged to be married.
Huh? Oh, no. Not exactly engaged.
Now, look here, Ike. This costs me real dough if I lose. Now, cut out the alibis and give it to us straight. Cap's wife told us you was roped.
Well, I don't want it to cost you no money, Carrie. You win.
Oh, you got a swell girl, Ike. Yeah, she's a peach. You're a lucky guy, Ike.
Well, I guess she's okay. I don't know much about girls. Never seen none that I'd fall for.
That is till you seen this one.
Oh, well, she's okay. But I wasn't thinking about getting married yet a while.
Say, who done the asking? Her?
No, not exactly her, but sometimes a man don't know what he's getting into. You take a good-looking girl, and a man generally always does just about what she wants him to.
Say, the girl isn't living that could lasso me. That is, unless I wanted to be lassoed.
Oh, I don't know. When a fella gets to feeling sorry for one of them, it's all off. Well, so long, boys.
So long. See you later, Ike. So long.
What, Dolly? I I didn't know you was waiting out here.
No? Well, it happens that I was. And it also happens that I heard every word you said in that room.
Dolly, oh gosh, listen.
I didn't understand you were just feeling sorry for me. But you're right about one thing. It's all off. Here's your ring, Mr. Farrell.
Oh, gee, Dolly, wait a minute, Dolly. I didn't mean it. Honest, I didn't. Dolly, you gotta listen to me. Let me explain.
I don't ever want to speak to you again. I'm sick of your alibis. And I've no intention of spending my life with a man who apologizes for me every other word. Goodbye.
Dolly, wait. You gotta... Wait a minute. You can't do this. You don't understand. It's all a mistake.
Going up?
Dolly. Gosh.
Identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is KNX, Los Angeles, the voice of Hollywood.
Alibi Ike will be back in the box pitching for the Lux Radio Theater again in just a moment. For that moment, we will talk with a real baseball player, considered by many the greatest of all time, Babe Ruth. You know him, of course, as the home run king, with 714 home runs in his crown. But when Babe started out with the Boston Red Sox in 1914, he was a pitcher. And to this day, he holds the record for pitching the greatest number of consecutive scoreless innings in a World Series. In 3 games, he pitched 29 innings without allowing 1 run. At this moment, Babe Ruth and his charming wife are listening in the trophy room of their home on Riverside Drive in New York City. They're going to speak to you from there. The Sultan of Swat and his lady, Mr. and Mrs. George Herman Babe Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille. I would like to tell you that Mrs. Ruth and myself are certainly enjoying the game you're umpiring out there in Hollywood. Joey Brown is pitching them right across the platter every time, and it's a great show from the stands there.
At the end of the first inning, they made a point that certainly meant a lot to me. That was when they talked about Lux Flakes. I've used them for years to cut down on runs. Not the home runs that Babe Ruth hits either. I mean the stocking runs that hit me.
Oh, that's right, Claire. I saw a box of Lux on the kitchen shelf last night.
Were you in the kitchen dieting again?
No. I didn't even go near the icebox. I was looking for the sport page of the paper you threw out. You see, we're getting into baseball season very fast here. According to my scores today, my prediction of the last 3 or 4 days are showing that we're going to have a great season with plenty of thrills. Philadelphia Nationals beat the Boston Bees in the first game today. They played 11 innings and won by 2-1. And in the second game, they won by 1-0. The Athletics beat the Senators 4-3, imagine, in 11 innings.
Babe, if you're going to tell them who is going to win the pennant, I'm through.
Well, I might be through myself. Suppose you tell them.
Well, on his radio program the other night, I heard Babe Ruth say the Cardinals would win it in the National League and the Yanks in the American. But I noticed he made no predictions on his golf game.
Have you heard anyone predict a golf game right? I've been playing golf for several years. I think it's a great idea for a ball player to have 2 sports. But even if he has 2, don't try to combine them. But when you're playing baseball, stick to baseball. But on the off season, I think golf is a great conditioner for your legs.
That may be true, dear, but very often I've heard you come off the golf course saying baseball certainly is a great game.
All right, Clara, you win. Good night, Mr. DeMille, and thank you for letting us play on your league program tonight.
I think if anyone deserves the pennant, it's the Lux Radio Theater League. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Babe Ruth. We're back in Hollywood now with Joey Brown, Helen Chandler, Roscoe Carnes, and William Frawley in Alibi Ike. Sick at heart because Dolly broke their engagement, Farrell went out the next day and pitched a losing game. Pitched so badly it aroused suspicion in the minds of Cap and the owner of the club. They've gone to his room to question him. They find him slumped dejectedly in an armchair.
Ike, we want to talk to you. Yeah? Well, I don't want to talk to you. No, just a minute, son. Don't you feel well? Yeah, I feel all right. Well, is there anything we can do? Yeah, you can get out of here and let me alone. You know, Farrell, that was a pretty bad game you pitched today. Looked like you weren't even trying. What do you mean I wasn't trying? I'd answer that door if I were you. I was just going to. Well, what do you want?
The chief told me to give you this envelope.
Hmm?
You'll catch on when you open it. So long, kid.
Who was that, Farrell? Well, I don't know. Never seen him before. Brought me a letter. Well, he didn't look like a postman to me. Why don't you open it? All right, I will. Gosh, it's getting so a fella can't even open his mail in private. Hey, what's this? I'll tell you what it is, Mr. Farrell. It's a roll of greenbacks. Let me see that. Look, Tom, a half a dozen $1,000 bills. A half dozen $1,000 bills? What? Say, that's $6,000, ain't it? Yeah, and there seems to be a little note attached to it. Listen to this, Cap. Nice going, kid. Keep up the good work. How do you like that? What about it, Farrell? Oh, I don't know nothing about it. Gosh. Say, they must have thought that I was losing that game on purpose for them. Who sent this? Oh, I don't know. I can't remember his name. Oh, you can't. Farrell, I never thought you'd do a dirty trick like this. Say, you don't think I threw the game? No, this is just a coincidence. Why, if it wasn't for the scandal, I'd let you explain it to the judge. Wait a minute. Say, I wouldn't throw a game if my mother was playing on the other side. You won't have a chance in this club. Pack your things and get out. And if you ever put on a baseball suit again, I'll put stripes on it for you. You mean I'm canned? Yeah, and it starts right now. All right, then let it start. A couple of fine fellas you are. When I was winning, you thought I was a hero. And then the first time I lose a game in 2 months, you come around claiming I'm a crook. Well, you can keep your ball club. I'm through with you for good. Now get out of here. Get out of here and let me pack my suitcase. Fine fellows they are. I'll show them.
Frank Farrell, wait.
What?
Frank, wait.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Finley.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm going back to Holgate. That's where I'm going.
Oh, no, you're not.
No?
I just spoke to Cap. I told him the real reason why you lost that game. Because you was worried sick about Dolly. They want you back, Farrell.
Well, I ain't going.
You got to come back, for Dolly's sake, if not your own.
Dolly? Gosh, she don't care if I never come back.
Yes, she does.
Yeah?
I spoke to her long distance last night. She's been almost frantic since she walked out on you.
Well, gee, if you think that...
I don't think. I know. But if you go off now, you'll be disgraced. And if I tell Dolly that your comeback depends on her, she'll be back tomorrow cheering for you.
But do you think she'll really forgive me?
Sure. If you'll promise to give up those alibis.
Well, promise? Gee, I'd get right down on my knees now. Only I got such a bad case of Charlie horse.
Never mind that. Come on back to the hotel. Cap and Mr. Johnson are there waiting for you.
And we're sorry, son. Yeah. We should have known better than to think you'd throw a game.
Oh, shucks, that's all right. It's all over as far as I'm concerned.
But it isn't. Not yet. I want to get those crooks and get them right. Do you know where to find them?
Sure I do. At their clubhouse.
Okay. I want you to go and see them the day before your next game. And tell them you're going to throw it. But you won't do it unless their man meets you with the money just before the game. Then we'll have a couple of federal men there and catch them red-handed, giving you the dough.
Oh, boy, say, that's pretty slick. I'll be pitching next Thursday. I'll go and see him Wednesday night.
Get this straight, Farrell. Just why do you want the money in advance?
Well, I tell you, they're looking at me funny. I gotta have that dough so I can get out fast if they do come after me.
Are you trying to put the cross on us, Farrell?
Say, ain't I done everything you told me to so far?
Okay. We'll have the dough for you. Now scram.
Sure. Well, good night, boys. Don't forget.
Well, what do you think, Chief?
He's pulling a fast one on us, but he's not going to get away with it.
We got everything sunk on tomorrow's game. If Farrell wins, it means the pennant for the Cubs.
Farrell isn't going to win, Lefty, because Farrell isn't going to pitch.
Huh?
You and Charlie are going to pay Mr. Farrell a little visit tonight, see?
Don't mess him up if you can help it, but get him away from the hotel. You know what I mean, Lefty?
Yeah. Maybe a little chloroform will help.
Handle it any way you want. But get him out to the farm and see that he don't wake up until the game's on.
Leave it to me, boss. When I get finished with him, he'll be lucky if he ever wakes up.
PR paper, Farrell disappears. Ace Cup pitcher disappears on eve of the game. Read all about it.
But I tell you, Beth, something has happened to him.
Yeah? Well, something else will happen to him if he doesn't show up for the game.
Game? All you think about is the game. What worries me is Francis.
Oh, now calm yourself, Dolly. He'll be all right. He'll probably show up at the last minute with an alibi.
Oh, but he isn't all right. He'd never do a thing like this. Oh, if I only knew where he was.
Come on. It's almost time for the game.
Yes, sir, folks. It's a great game. At the end of the fourth inning, the Cubs are trailing the Giants by 1 run. Now it's a shame that Farrell is near to pitch today.
Turn that off, Charlie.
No
I think the sap is waking up.
Oh.
Hiya, Farrell.
Huh? Hey.
Take it easy, boy. Lay down there.
Hey, what is this?
Just a little game we got up, Frank, and you're it.
Where am I?
Why, this is the health farm, Sonny. We brought you out here for your health.
My health? Say, quit kidding me. I got to get to the ballpark.
Boy, you're so far from the ballpark, you'll do well to get there by next season.
Oh, I will I?
Get in, Charlie.
Come here, you.
Put it right now. Sit down. There. That's better. Now, Farrell, if you're a good boy, you can go home. Just like you come here. All in one piece. You get it?
Yeah, okay, boys. I guess you win.
Now you're showing sense. Have a drink?
Me? Say, I wouldn't touch that stuff. Well, maybe I will have one, thanks.
Say when, Farrell.
I'll pour it myself if you don't mind.
Sure. Here.
Thanks. Gosh, the bottle's almost empty. Pretty color when you hold it up to the light, ain't it?
I don't pay much attention to the outside of the bottle.
Look at there. It's all greenish. Boy, sure is pretty.
Huh? Let me see it.
Sure. Take a good look, mister.
Hey, you!
Gonna keep you in there, are you? We'll make us lose the game, huh? I'll show you, you dog. Give it to him. All right.
What a game! It's the last half of the ninth inning, folks, and the Cubs are at bat. There's 2 runs behind, and there's 2 outs, but there's a man on second, and that crowd down there is going mad. It looks as if the Cubs are licked, but you'll never get it.
Right, 2!
Well, it looks like the finish, Harry.
Yeah, here goes the pennant, Cap.
Wait till I find that guy Farrell. I'll kill him. So help me, I'll murder him with my bare hands.
Ball 3!
Oh, 3 and 2 on Mac with a pitcher coming up.
I'll have to put in a pinch hitter if I get the chance.
Hey, Cap! Cap!
Look! Who is it? Holy... Why, it's Farrell.
Hiya, Cap! Hiya, Gary!
Come here.
Fellas!
Come here, you. Where have you been?
Don't ask me now. Just give me a bat, that's all. Give me a bat.
Ball 4! Take the base!
That's what's up to me, Cap. Hey, somebody give me a bat.
Wait a minute, Farrell. Listen to me. Are you on the level? Do you want to win this game?
Do I want to win it, guys? Let go of me.
All right, but remember this. You've got to get a hit. 2 runs will tie the score, and there's 2 men on.
I know it.
If you strike out or pop a fly, I'll murder you.
Oh, listen, Cap, I'll sock that peel so hard, it'll rip the horse hide off of it. Let me out of there.
Hand her up. Hand her up.
That's me, Farrell, pinch hitting for Rossi.
Farrell, batting in face of Rossi. Farrell, batting in face of Rossi. Farrell, batting in face of Rossi.
Thanks, folks. All right there, Mr. Eckhart. Just put her in there and duck.
Strike 1!
You're right, Looked all right to me, too.
Get up to the plate.
Okay. Gee, I hope you can put another one in the same place. My gosh, you did it. 2 strikes, huh? Hey, I better get down to business. Don't worry, Cap. Only takes 1 to smack it.
Get in the batter's box.
He hit it. Hey,
Well,
stick
work,
with my hand. Oh, shucks, that was easy. I didn't even knock it over the fence.
We did it, Tom. We did it.
I'll say you did it. And listen, we got that crook, Crawford. We traced the money to him and nabbed him a few minutes ago.
Nice work, Mr. Johnson. I'll help you get the rest of them myself.
Oh, Francis.
Dolly. Oh, gosh, you come back.
Of course I did. And, oh, Francis, I was so worried about you, but you're safe, aren't you, darling?
Safe? Say, I was safe a mile. And Dolly, if you'll stick by me, I'll be a new guy. From now on, I'll change completely. Honest, I will.
Oh, Francis, of course I'll stick by you.
And the engagement is on again?
Oh, yes, Francis.
Oh, gosh. Dolly, I'll never alibi myself again as long as I live.
Hey, let us through here. Hey, Farrell, give us a story for the paper, will you?
Boy, sure. What do you want to know, boys?
Well, I want to know why you let 2 strikes go by without moving your bat.
Why? Say, how'd you like to be hitting when you got a big cinder in your eye?
The game's over and won, but we play an extra inning a little later with Joe E. Brown and Helen Chandler. When Paramount Studios decided to make a picture called Artists and Models, they enlisted the services of one of the country's most versatile illustrators, Russell Patterson, creator with John Hill, Jr., of the famous flapper type. You've seen his drawings many times in our leading publications. But his talents go much further than the drawing board. He's created stage sets, costumes, men's styles, industrial designs, pioneered in plastic photography, and is largely responsible for the current popularity of puppet shows. Ladies and gentlemen, Russell Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille, but I'm only one of the several illustrators who will be working in Artists and Models. By that, I mean you'll actually see on the screen James Montgomery Flagg, John Legata, McClellan Barkley, Arthur William Brown, Jefferson Mackimer, and Rube Goldberg.
A fine group of artists, but what about the models?
Well, it's difficult to find perfect models even in Hollywood. Since we started our search for beauty, Mr. Ruel Walsh, the director, Mr. Louis Gensler, the producer, and Mr. Leroy Prinz, the dance director of Artists and Models, for more than 1,000 girls. We wanted about 100 of the most beautiful models. You'd be surprised at the small number in this group who met our requirements.
What are the requirements?
Well, I would say 4 in number. Grace, the ability to wear clothes, figure, and, of course, the beauty of the face. Why it's so hard to pick outstanding girls today is because most of them are standard types. They all want to look alike, and we look for individual types. Beauty, like everything else, seems to run in cycles. After the war, there was the collegiate, and then the flapper types. The platinum blondes, the redheads, and last year the brunettes had their day.
And this year?
Oh, I would say the smooth-haired, dark, natural blonde with blue eyes and sunburned skin. I think she's the typical American girl of 1937.
Since you preach individuality, I suppose you'd hesitate to tell the girls in our radio audience what kind of clothes to wear.
Well, that's like a doctor trying to cure a patient without knowing the ailment. I would recommend the best fashion magazines and to follow the best-dressed picture stars. And above all, as much of one's own personality as possible. I can safely say that whatever they wear, women will keep on caring for their clothes in the most effective, economical way there is, with Lux Flakes. Lux is the safest, surest wardrobe care I know of. And that's why we're using it in Artists and Models. Thank you, Mr. DeMille.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. In just a few minutes, Joe E. Brown boards a plane and flies from Hollywood to Chicago. But we still have time to bring back Joe and Helen Chandler to answer their curtain call. All right, Helen. And remember, Joe, no alibis.
Thanks, CB. Of course, I'm not in very good voice.
Beginning already? Now what's the matter? Did the play take it out of you?
Play? Gosh, no, but I've got to protect my voice for tomorrow.
Didn't you hear, Mr. DeMille? Joe's going to Chicago to become a radio announcer. He's describing the game there tomorrow between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago Cubs.
Helen, it's nothing at all. Nothing at all.
How long are you going to be a sports commentator, Joe?
Oh, about a month, I guess. Unless I find that I've bit off more than I can chew.
I'd say that was impossible.
Huh? Cut it out, will you? No, CB.
Joe, I think it'd be awfully nice if you'd say something about our product.
Product? What product?
You don't know what our product is?
Well, it seems that I do kind of recollect hearing tell of it.
Yes, of course you do. Why, everybody uses it for keeping clothes nice. You know, and washing dishes.
Clothes? Mm-hmm. Washing dishes?
You know, Joe. You know, it comes in a box. You get it at the grocery store. Big letters on it. L-U-X.
L-U-X. Now tell me. Oh, Lux, sure. Well, why didn't you say so in the first place instead of beating around the bush? Guys, our house is just about filled with Lux. I say, those flakes are a home run in the ninth inning with 2 out and the bases loaded. Of course, I don't do the washing, but it seems to me...
No, that's enough. That's enough. Don't spoil it. Joe, I understand you're a sports writer, too.
Yes. I'm writing a column for the Los Angeles Examiner. They picked the craziest name for my column, though. They call it Saying a Mouthful. Gosh, that don't seem to fit me.
Not if it's only a column, Joe.
Oh, you too, huh?
Yeah, it ought to be a full page.
Oh, I see. And Helen, just before I kiss you goodbye, before we say Dolly, guys, there I'm all confused. Before I walk off the field, I want to wish a speedy recovery to one of baseball's immortals, now in Lakeside Hospital, Cleveland. He was banged up pretty badly in an accident the other day, and I know that you all join me in wishing the best to a great sportsman, our friend Tris Speaker. And now, CB and everyone, including you, Helen, goodbye.
Goodbye, thank you.
Goodbye, Alibi. Mr. Brown, Miss Chandler, our thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your announcer, Melville Ruick. The program arranged for you next Monday night will be revealed in a moment by Mr. DeMille. Tonight's cast included Wally Mayer as Mac, Leora Thatcher as Bess Finley, Cy Kendall as Crawford, Lou Merrill as club owner, Joe Franz as Lefty, Charles Emerson as reporter, Frank Nelson as radio announcer, Ross Forrester as Tex, Ingeborg Dillish as telephone operator, and Marion Dennis as telephone girl. Joe E. Brown appeared through courtesy of David L. Lowe Productions. Louis Silvers, 20th Century Fox, where he was in charge of music for the new film That I May Live. Mr. DeMille, Mr. Carnes, and Mr. Frawley, Paramount. Mr. Frawley's new picture is High, Wide, and Handsome, and Mr. Carnes, Night of Mystery.
Next Monday night, the Lux Radio Theater brings you 2 of the most outstanding personalities Hollywood has ever given the world, Robert Taylor and Irene Dunne. Our play, Magnificent Obsession, based on Universal's picture from the celebrated novel by Dr. Lloyd C. Douglas, one of the most inspired stories of our day. Our radio version will find both stars resuming the same role.
Hollywood, California, Monday, April 26th. The Lux Radio Theater presents Irene Dunne and Robert Taylor in Magnificent Obsession. Our stars, Irene Dunne and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's sensational personality, Robert Taylor, with Pedro de Cordova, Sarah Hayden, and Barbara Kent. Our guests, Dr. Lloyd C. Douglas, author of Magnificent Obsession and other best-selling novels, and John Arnold, head of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's Camera Department and president of the American Society of Cinematographers. Our producer, Cecil B. DeMille. Our conductor, Louis Silvers. On behalf of our sponsors, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, welcome to Hollywood and the Lux Radio Theater. A girl can't be too young to start guarding her complexion. There's Deanna Durbin, for instance, the girl who made an overnight hit in Universal's Three Smart Girls. She's only 14, but already she's protecting her complexion the Lux Toilet Soap way. Here's what Deanna Durbin says about this gentle soap. I like Lux Toilet Soap, too. I see all the grown-up actresses using it, and Mother says I can't begin too young to take the best care of my complexion. Grown-ups use Lux toilet soap to guard against cosmetic skin, dullness, tiny blemishes, enlarged pores. Its active lather removes cosmetics thoroughly, keeps skin clear and smooth. Try it for yourself and see. And now, our producer. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. From boyhood to the moment that Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer discovered him in Pomona College, it was the ambition of Robert Taylor to follow in the footsteps of his physician father. Today, though perched on the highest pinnacle of motion picture stardom, Bob still attends medical lectures and believes that medicine is the finest career in the world. It's something of a coincidence, therefore, that this amazingly popular young actor should have made his first marked success on the screen as a physician. First in Society Doctor, then in tonight's play, Magnificent Obsession. Bob's father was a country doctor who left his son little more tangible than his books and a creed of life. But Bob has clung to that creed, in spite of the whirl that has spun him steadily higher to international fame. Written by Hugh Walpole, the words are, "Blessed be all sorrows, torments, hardships, endurances that demand courage. Make of me a man, to be ready for everything. Love, friendship, success, to take it if it comes, to care nothing if these things are not for me. Make me brave." Magnificent Obsession was written by Dr. Lloyd C. Douglas, who speaks to us later. Playing opposite Robert Taylor, currently seen in Personal Property, and whom we hear shortly as Bob Merrick, is Irene Dunne in the role of Helen Hudson. Great actresses are rarities, but Miss Dunne is a rarity among great actresses. Superb in drama, brilliant in song, she has in the last few months shown the world a brand of refreshing comedy which has proved her one of Hollywood's most versatile divinities. From the original screencast, we bring you Sarah Hayden in the role of Nancy Ashford, while Barbara Kent is heard as Joyce Hudson and Pedro de Cordova as Randolph. We welcome our international audience and the crowd that waited for hours on Hollywood Boulevard to attend tonight's play. The doors close, and the curtain slowly rises as the Lux Radio Theater presents Irene Dunne and Robert Taylor in Magnificent Obsession. Dr. Wayne Hudson, an eminent brain specialist, died one midsummer evening. Died by drowning in the lake near his sanatorium. His death was a shock to the world, especially to those in the field of medicine. It's late at night now, and we're in an office of the sanatorium. Deeply conscious of a great loss, Nancy Ashford, the head nurse, is speaking to one of the younger girls.
The routine of the hospital will go on as usual. Dr. Hudson would have wanted it that way.
Yes, Mrs. Ashford.
Have the other nurses take their regular room assignments for the night. Tell them to be especially careful not to disturb the patients.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Evelyn.
I can't help it. Everyone loved him so. He was so kind.
I know, dear. But we have a hospital to take care of. Patients who need us.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to take room 417 tonight.
Robert Merrick?
Yes.
I won't. I can't.
Evelyn.
It was his fault Dr. Hudson died. It was all his fault.
You don't know what you're saying.
I do. If we'd had the pull motor for the doctor, he'd have lived. But we didn't have it. It was being used.
Stop it.
It was on the other side of the lake being used to save Bob Merrick. Bob Merrick!
Evelyn, stop it.
He lived, and the doctor had to die.
You mustn't feel that way. It wasn't Robert Merrick's fault. It wasn't anyone's fault. I know you feel badly. We all do. It's just the way things happen sometimes.
Mrs. Hudson?
Yes?
My name is Perry.
Well, how do you do, Mr. Perry? I've been expecting you. Sit down, please.
I dislike coming so soon after the funeral, but...
Quite all right. Business matters can't wait very well, can they?
Well, no, especially this one, Mrs. Hudson.
Yes. Well, Mr. Perry.
Oh, what? Forgive me, please. I had no idea you were so young.
I was my husband's second wife. We'd only been married a short while.
Yes, I know.
I have a stepdaughter, only a year younger. But go on, please.
Well, as you probably know, Mrs. Hudson, I was your husband's financial advisor. And since his death, I've been going over the books very carefully. You know, it seems almost incredible, Mrs. Hudson, but there's very little left.
I see.
He never kept much of a balance at the hospital. Everything was transferred to his personal account. But look at these withdrawals. Cash $5,000. Cash $2,000. Cash $10,000. Have you any idea what these were for?
My husband was always a very generous man.
You mean he gave this money away?
Well, I don't know the details, but scores of people have been coming here to the house, and they all tell me the same story. At some time in their lives, my husband befriended them, helped them, gave them money. When they tried to pay him back, he refused to take it. He said he couldn't take it back, that he had used it all up.
Used it all up? Well, that's strange. What did he mean?
I don't know. No one seems to know.
Helen?
Oh, yes. What is it, Joyce?
Mrs. Ashford has to go back to the hospital. She's leaving now.
Oh, I thought she was staying. Will you excuse me, Mr. Perry?
Of course.
Who is he, Helen?
His name is Perry. He had something to do with your father's finances.
Oh.
Helen, I wanted to say goodbye.
Oh, yes, of course, Nancy.
I'll drive up to see you soon. I hope so. Oh, here, before I forget, I've got a letter for you.
Oh, thank you, dear.
It came to the hospital this morning. I thought I'd better bring it out.
Joyce, it's another one.
Another?
Yes, listen. I was a friend of your husband. He helped me once many years ago, but he would never let me repay him. If ever I can be of service to you, do not hesitate to call on me. It's signed Randolph.
Randolph? I don't think I ever heard Dad mention him.
I can't take it back. I've used it all up.
What?
Nancy, did you ever hear Dr. Hudson say anything like that?
I can't say I have.
Dear, if I only knew what it meant.
Well, I've got to hurry. They've just called me again.
What's the matter? Is there anything wrong at the hospital?
Oh, it's that young idiot, Bob Merrick. He's having another tantrum, threatening to leave.
Should think you'd be glad to get rid of him. And I think if it hadn't been for him, the greatest heart that ever beat in this world would be beating tonight. Well, I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
Look, nurse, I don't want to be inquisitive, but what's this on my breakfast tray?
It's a poached egg. The doctor ordered it.
Yeah, why didn't he eat it?
Please, Mr. Merrick. It's the same breakfast we serve all the other patients.
Sure, that's why they're still in here. I've been in 5 weeks, but I'm hanged if I'll stay another.
Get back in that bed. Mrs. Ashford. Oh, Mrs. Ashford.
Mr. Merrick.
Hiya, Toots. Where are my pants?
You can go, Evelyn.
Yes, ma'am.
Get back into that bed, please, or I'll have to call the house doctor.
I want to be discharged.
I'd love to be the first to pack you off, but your temperature is 101. Your pulse beat is abnormal. You're still very weak. And your grandfather, who pays all the bills, would be furious.
Tell you what I'll do. I'll compromise. Bring me a highball.
It'll raise your fever.
Oh, tell me, Warden, what do they give nurses instead of a heart?
An ice bag.
You know I can believe that. Hey, Mrs. Ashford, you look like a pretty good sport. I want to ask you something. And I want you to ask yourself the same question. Is it my fault that my life was saved and Dr. Hudson was drowned?
How did you... The nurses were under strict orders.
Oh, no. They didn't tell me. They're not that human. But I have eyes and ears. And what I want to know is it my fault they were using their lung machine on me when they needed it for him?
Of course not. But the staff has been under a strain. They loved and honored Dr. Hudson. We all did.
I know. You're asking yourselves what right I have to be alive and Dr. Hudson dead, isn't that so? Well, then what right have you or anyone else to pass judgment on what kind of people have a right to live?
That's true. If such an attitude has prevailed in this hospital, you have a right to be indignant.
No, I'm not indignant about that. I'm indignant because I feel the same way.
What?
Sure. I know I'm not worth anything, let alone a great man's life. It's a darn shame the wrong guy had to go. There it is. We all have to make the best of it. He's dead. I'm alive. We're both out of luck.
Please, Mr. Merrick, you mustn't talk like that.
Well, it's true, isn't it? Now that I've apologized for being alive, what about having me pardoned so that I can get out of here?
I'm sorry, but you can't leave yet.
Is that final?
Final.
You'll regret this, Mrs. Ashford.
You'll regret it more if you leave. I'll come and see you again this evening.
Final, huh? Hello. I want Elm 302. What? It's my house. Can't I speak to my own butler? Oh, I have some rights around here. All right, then. Come and see me this evening. Hello? Hello, Horace. Now, look, Horace, this is Mr. Merrick. I want a car. A car, an automobile. Yes, I want it left at the gate of the hospital. Well, sure, I'm leaving. Yes, I thought you'd like to be the first one to know, Horace. Now, listen, bring me a suit and a shirt and a pair of shoes and leave them in the car for me. Come on, Horace, come on, stop loafing. I want to get as far away from Brightwood Hospital as I can.
Sorry, sir, but there seems to be a car stopped in the middle of the road up ahead.
Oh, yes, and a damsel standing beside it. A damsel in distress, Horace.
Shall I stop, sir?
Well, how can I tell yet? Let me get a good look at her.
Very good, sir.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's the matter with you, Horace? Don't you know beauty when you see it? Good evening. Can I be of any assistance?
I'm afraid I'm stalled.
Well, you picked a nice spot. I think you've managed to find the last unpaved road in Westchester. And the exact spot farthest from a service station in either direction.
Oh, I was afraid of that.
What's wrong?
Well, I haven't the vaguest idea.
How about gas?
No, it's not that. I just had the tank filled before I left town.
What town?
Well, New York, naturally.
You're from New York? Well, now, isn't that a coincidence? So am I. Isn't it a small world?
Really, I would like to get this car started. Do you think you could do something to make it go?
Well, now, let me see.
Anything I can do, sir?
Yes, that's an idea. Excuse me a moment, will you?
Of course.
Horace.
Yes, sir?
Find a service station and take your time.
Yes, sir. Very good, sir.
Well, that ought to fix it.
Is your man going for help?
Yes.
And in the meantime, isn't there anything you could do?
Well, I don't know now. How about taking out the spark plugs?
Taking out the spark plugs?
Well, you never can tell. I've heard certain mechanics say, your car will never be sound till you've had out all the spark plugs removed. You know, the spark plug is the appendix of a motor, an unnecessary thing. Have out your spark plugs now while your car is still in the pink. Don't wait for it to break down completely.
Oh, I see. Oh, but I really have an appointment. Couldn't you do something? Maybe if you pushed it, it might kind of catch on.
I'm ashamed to admit it, but I don't know a thing about motors. What do you say if we just sit here by the road and talk till the man comes back, huh?
Well, I wasn't exactly counting on an evening of conversation in the open air.
Oh, but what could be nicer? Where could you find a more completely charming spot than this? Look at that moon up there. I'll bet it's never been so round or so radiant as it is tonight.
It is exquisite, isn't it?
Exquisite.
The moon.
Oh, yes. I love nature. If you ask me, you were lucky to break down here in the center of Eden. I was lucky to happen along.
Yes, you certainly were. You've been a big help.
Well, I'm not much help, but they tell me I'm good company.
Well, I'm sure of that. But you see, unexpected somewhere else.
Yeah, you know, I could like you.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Of course, I'd have to see lots and lots of you for a while to make sure.
Oh, sure, you wouldn't want to make any mistakes.
No, I hate divorces. And then there'd be the children to think of, too. What's your name?
Was that important?
Well, of course names are important. Suppose we didn't have them. Think of the mix-ups with everybody going around yelling, hey, you! Now, mine's Bob, if you're interested.
Bob.
If you're still interested, the last name's Merrick.
Merrick?
Sure, what's the matter?
How far did you say it was to that service station?
I didn't. Where are you going?
I'm going to walk.
Oh, now, wait a minute. You can't do that.
You let me go.
Here, what's the matter with you?
Please.
Now, listen, you can't walk out on me like this. I don't even know who you are.
Would you really like to know?
Of course I would.
My name is Hudson. Mrs. Helen Hudson.
Hudson? Then, you're Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I suppose you hate me.
I don't feel anything toward you. Let me go, please.
Good evening. Is Mrs. Hudson in?
No, sir, she's not.
She still lives here, doesn't she?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes.
Well, then I'll wait. Oh, by the way, did you give Mrs. Hudson my note?
Yes, sir. And that reminds me. I was unable to get an answer, so here's your $10 back. And the note, sir.
Didn't you even open it?
I don't know, sir. That's how I found it. In the wastebasket.
Oh, I see. All right, thank you.
The bank would like to do it, Mrs. Hudson, but I'm afraid we can't.
Well, I know I'm overdrawn, but there ought to be a check-in from the hospital soon.
Well, then I'd advise you to wait, Mrs. Hudson.
Oh, very well. Thank you.
Mrs. Hudson! Mrs. Hudson!
I beg your pardon.
Miracles do happen.
Really?
Yes, really. Here I stand looking at you. And a moment ago I was surrendering my last illusion, vowing to hate the world forever.
Well, that's very unfortunate, Mr. Merrick, but I don't see how I could prevent you from doing that.
Oh, now, wait, please. My car's just across the street, and I've got to speak to you. Let me take you home.
No, I'm very sorry.
Oh, for the love of heaven, melt, Mrs. Hudson. Unbend. Be human. Are you smiling? Are you actually smiling at me?
I'm on the verge of shrieking in hysterics.
Well, then come on before you change your mind.
Are you sure you know where I live?
Well, I ought to. I've been hanging around outside there for weeks, months.
What was it you wanted to talk to me about?
Oh, Mrs. Hudson, I had an amazing encounter last night. I ran into a man who preaches a theory that he learned from your husband.
A theory that he learned from...
Yes, from your husband. It seems that Dr. Hudson lived by theory, a profound formula for getting what he wanted out of life. Good Lord, of course he got you. Well, if I ever doubted it.
Please, what are you talking about? What is the theory? Who's the man?
Well, his name's Randolph.
Randolph. Randolph. Oh, yes.
Yes, he's a stone cutter. Now, don't ask me how I met him. But we had a long talk. The theory is quite simple. Help people and don't tell, and you get the power to do the things you want to do.
When you do things for people, they can't pay you back. Is that it?
Oh, that's part of it. Because when they're ready to pay you...
You've used it all up.
Yes. Well, when this man Randolph began to talk to me, I thought he was nuts. I couldn't help trying it out, though. It didn't work at first, and then, just when I was about to give myself a loud, bitter laugh, this happened.
What do you mean, this? You're merely taking me home against my will. And it seems to me you're going out of your way.
What do you mean? Did I take the wrong turn back there?
Well, somewhere, that's obvious.
Now that you speak of it, this is an unfamiliar street.
A street? I call this a country road.
Yes, I guess you're right. Yes, sir, there's a cow. That substantiates your observation. It is a road, not a street.
Oh, now, come now. I really would like to get home if you don't mind.
Certainly, but aren't you interested in what I've been telling you?
Well, yes, I am. I'm terribly interested.
Well, then, can I see you again very soon? Shouldn't we do something about it, really?
Well, I'll see. I can't say now. Well, there's a road we can turn back on, I think.
We don't have to turn back, do we?
Yes, we do.
Now, there's a nice thing.
What's the matter?
Stop me if you've heard this one, but I think we run out of gas.
Oh, I should have known this would happen.
What are you doing?
I'm getting out. You're not out of gas, and I'm not in the mood for any more fooling.
You're behaving just like all those indignant, old-fashioned girls in the anecdotes, the ones who walk home.
Well, I am indignant.
Well, at any rate, you're not bored, are you?
Well, are you going to drive me home now, or aren't you?
Sure I am, but look at the view. It's positively Arcadian.
Excuse me?
Oh, now wait. I'll behave. Get back in the car.
No.
Mrs. Hudson.
Look out! Look out! Helen!
Pick her up! Get away. Helen. Oh, my God.
Oh, she just stepped out in the road. I tried to stop.
Here, quick, help me. We got to get her to the hospital.
Yes.
How long will it be, Nancy, before they know something?
I don't see how it can go on much longer. She's been on the table almost 2 hours.
Poor Helen. Why should this happen to her? What did she ever do to deserve this?
Oh, Joyce, dear, you mustn't. Come in. Mr. Merrick.
I've been waiting outside. I had to know. How is she?
How is she? You asked that. You, of all people. As if you hadn't been the cause of enough unhappiness.
No. Don't say that, please. It was an accident.
An accident?
Mrs. Ashford?
Oh, Dr. Ramsey. Is she all right?
She's going to live.
Oh, thank God.
But, well, I'm afraid she'll never see again.
Doctor.
Never see.
Do you hear that? Never see again. The rest of her life she'll be blind. And why? Because of you. Because of you.
Joyce, dear.
I don't care. It's true, isn't it? Why shouldn't he suffer, too? I want him to suffer. He's responsible. Go in there and look and see what you've done.
It is my fault. All of it. But you can't make me suffer any more than I'm suffering now.
You've been
Taylor and Irene Dunne in the Lux Radio Theater's presentation of The Magnificent Obsession. Now, before we go on with our play, let's step outside to the stage door a minute. There's a blue roadster in the parking place behind the theater, and a pretty girl is in it. She seems a little annoyed.
Good grief, Eileen. Where have you been? I've been honking this horn for 20 minutes.
Oh, bah. I tried to get in to see Irene Dunne without a ticket, but no luck. They're all filled up.
In a fine state you've got me in, waiting. I'm going out with Bill at 7:30. Now, how am I going to make it?
Phooey. You've got plenty of time.
Oh, have I? I was going to take a nap. I'm dead on my feet.
Gosh, I'm sorry. But look, I'll tell you something that's actually better than a nap. When I'm tired and I have a date to keep, I just slide into a warm, lathery Lux toilet soap bath and relax. You feel like a million when you get out. Leaves your skin so fragrant, too. Such a grand, expensive perfume.
Eileen knows her beauty baths all right. The perfume of Lux toilet soap is a blend of 34 costly ingredients. Yet Lux toilet soap is so inexpensive that anyone can afford to use it freely. And here's another thing. Its active lather removes perspiration, every last trace of dust and dirt from deep in the pores. That means it makes you sure of daintiness, sure your skin is sweet. Why don't you make a Lux toilet soap bath your daily beauty bath? You're sure to love this soap 9 out of 10 screen stars use. Mr. DeMille takes us back to our play.
We continue with Magnificent Obsession, starring Irene Dunne and Robert Taylor. Months have gone by. Months during which Helen has learned to feel her way hesitantly through the darkness of her life. Months which have seen a complete change in Bob Merrick. We find him in Randolph's little cottage near the hospital. Randolph, the stonecutter, has been enlarging on a theory. The theory of Dr. Hudson's formula for happiness.
Dr. Hudson was the best friend I ever had. He changed my whole life.
How?
Well, you see, for many years I was just an ordinary stonecutter, mechanically hacking out blocks with a compression chisel. But now, do you see this cast? I put it into marble. It's been accepted by the Metropolitan Museum.
Well, it's beautiful. You say you did this just because of Dr. Hudson and this theory of his?
His theory is a fact, my boy. A formula, precise and definite. You find people who need help, and you give them help.
You mean money?
Money's all right, and since you happen to have a lot of it. But other kinds of help are apt to be better still. But it must be given with absolute secrecy, and you must never let anybody repay you.
I'm afraid it's way beyond me.
Oh, it's really very simple. You've probably heard it many times. Now, in this Bible here, there's a page...
The Bible? Oh, I don't think I...
It's only a single page. Oh, I won't point it out to you. You must discover it for yourself. But the man whose life is recounted here by those who knew him was the one who originated this science of generating human power. And so successfully did he practice it that he is more alive today, burning in the hearts of men, than he was over 1,900 years ago when they nailed him to a cross.
Well, then if I help people and I never let them repay me, I can have anything I want?
If you know what you want, my boy.
Oh, yes, I know what I want. I want someone, and I want to help her, too. It complicates things, doesn't it? I've got to do something, Nancy. She can't go on like this, always in darkness.
We've been doing things, Bob.
There's somebody who can help her. There must be. If necessary, we'll comb the world.
As a matter of fact, we were talking today about a man under whom Dr. Hudson studied. Dr. Brimmer.
Do you think he could do something?
There's a chance.
Well, then get him, Nancy.
We can't do that. He's in Berlin.
Then she must go to him. She must go at once.
That's not as simple as it sounds. It's very expensive.
You can't stop on account of money. I can take care of that.
Always ready to work your money miracle. Aren't you, Bob?
What else have I to offer? Nancy, do you think I could see her just once?
I don't know.
She wouldn't have to know who it was. I just want to see her again. Well?
She's teaching herself to read through her fingers. She takes her book to the park. She's there alone every morning.
Thank you, Nancy.
If you will but be mine. You shall dine on cherry pie and drink nice currants. Oh.
You dropped your book.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know anyone was sitting near. Have you been here long?
Not so very.
I've been reading nursery rhymes. I'm a little embarrassed. You see, I've got to learn my ABCs all over again.
Is it so hard?
No, not when you get the hang of it. I rather enjoy it.
Well, it won't be long until you'll be reading Shakespeare, Shelley, Schopenhauer. They have them all, you know.
Really? How do you know?
Well, I'm interested in the Braille system.
Oh, are you a doctor?
Yes. Well, that's what I started out to be, but I haven't done much with it since I left college.
Oh, what a pity. I can't help wondering why you didn't go on with it.
Oh, I don't know. Unless I thought there were enough second-rate doctors in the world already.
Well, why not be a first-rate one?
There's so few of them. But what I wanted to say is, I have a friend who has a large library of Braille books. I know he'd be happy to let you have them. May I bring some tomorrow?
Well, I hardly think tomorrow. Right now I have my hands pretty full with Mother Goose.
Yes, of course. But I'll see you again. There's
Yes.
lots of time.
Yes, what did you say your name was?
Robert.
Dr. Robert.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thanks for your interest, Dr. Robert.
Good morning.
Good morning. Is Mrs. Hudson in?
Who should I say is calling, please?
Oh, it's not important. I just wanted to know how she was.
Is that Dr. Robert, Susan? Ask him to come in.
Come in, please.
Oh, I don't think I'd better. Is Miss Joyce Hudson at home?
No, sir, she's not in.
Oh, well,
In the living room, Doctor.
thank you.
Dr. Robert.
Oh, now please don't get up.
I recognize your voice.
Well, I was just passing. I thought I'd drop in and find out what's been keeping you indoors. You been ill?
No. Joyce had to go to New York on business for me, and she made me promise I wouldn't go out while she was away. But come on, sit down. My, I'm glad you've come. The most wonderful things have been happening.
Really? I'm glad to hear it.
You remember those bonds I told you about? The ones I thought were worthless?
Yes?
Well, they weren't. They're terribly valuable. And somebody's bought them from me. I don't know who. Anyway, Mr. Perry's invested the money in something else. Something that will give me an income for the rest of my life.
Oh, that's fine.
But that's not all. Listen to this. I'm going to Berlin.
Are you?
Yes. There's a man there, a Dr. Brimmer. He's going to look at my eye. Of course, I could never afford to pay him. I suppose he's doing it as a tribute to what my husband stood for in the medical profession. Anyway, Nancy said it would be very ungrateful of me to refuse.
Refuse? You're not thinking of refusing.
Well, I have been a little. You see, I've had so many disappointments, and of course, if he agrees with the others that there's no hope.
Oh, but he won't. A man like Brimmer doesn't have disappointments. He'll be able to give you back your sight, I'm sure. Has it meant so much to you?
So much.
I wish I deserved to have you say such a beautiful thing to me.
You do.
You might think differently if you saw me.
Well, how could I? It wouldn't matter what you looked like. I see better now than I used to, really. I used to see only people's faces. Now I look into their hearts. Oh, but here, I'm getting maudlin. You'll still be the same kind friend. You won't change. I mean, if my trip is successful.
No, I won't change, ever.
Helen, where are you? Oh, it's Joyce.
Well, I think I'd better go.
Oh, no, please. In here, Joyce. No, I want you to meet her. She's heard me talk about you so much.
Really,
I just came. Oh, Joyce, darling. This is my friend, Dr. Robert.
How do you do?
Dr. Robert?
What's wrong, dear?
Are you the man who's been meeting Helen in the park, helping her to read, seeing her home?
Well, I tried to help a little.
Joyce, what is it? Do you know Dr. Robert?
No. No, I've never seen Dr. Robert before in my life.
Goodbye, Joyce. Goodbye, Helen, dear.
Goodbye, darling.
Nancy, are you sure he hasn't come? Dr. Robert?
I don't see him. Oh, perhaps he couldn't make it. Perhaps. I must go. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Nancy.
Bon voyage.
What is it?
The American papers, Fräulein.
Thank you.
Who is it, George?
Just the hotel boy. Helen, what are you doing up? You promised me you'd try to get some sleep.
I couldn't sleep. I'm not tired.
Darling, you've been through such a lot. The doctor said...
Yes, I know. What does it matter what the doctor said? I don't need sleep. Oh, I don't know what I need. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I'm just not myself.
I know. You're all unnerved. All this way to Berlin, all these weeks, and...
Yes, for nothing. Even Brimmer can't help me, Joyce.
I'll get you some hot milk. It'll put you to sleep.
If it only would.
I'll only be a minute, darling.
Come in. Who is it? Who is it, please? Is there someone there?
Helen.
Who is it? Is it Dr. Robert?
Yes, dear.
Oh, is it really you? I can't believe it.
I hope you'll forgive me for just dropping in like this.
Forgive you? How did you happen to come here? When you weren't at the boat, I didn't think I'd ever see you again.
I had to see you, Helen.
You didn't come all the way to Berlin just to see me.
Yes. Are you glad?
Glad. It seems as though you must have known how much I needed you.
Has it been so bad?
Days and days of waiting. And at last to learn there's no hope. I'll never see again.
Oh, no, don't say that. You're going to see with my eyes. That's why I came. Listen, you called me a friend once. Will you let me think you meant it? Will you let me sit with you, ride with you, be hands and eyes to you? Because I've nothing else to do the whole rest of my life but help you see whatever you want to see. Will you?
Oh, I couldn't be a burden to you.
A burden. If I ever did a good deed in my life, if I ever thought a good thought, I'm rewarded now, if you'll let me. We'll forget all about doctors, shall we? Except me. I'm not much of a one. We'll start with Paris. Do you know Paris? Have you ever been there before?
No, but I've always imagined it.
Well, you're going to see it now. And London and Copenhagen and Switzerland. All the world, Helen.
Oh.
Through my eyes.
Bonjour, madame, monsieur. End of a blue. End of a blue. 23. Red.
You've won again, darling. 20 francs on the red.
Dr. Roberts, are people staring at me?
Well, now, why wouldn't they? In Paris, they make a business of staring at loveliness.
Oh, darling.
There's a crowd in the cafe, Helen, and tables with gaudy check cloths.
Montmartre. I've dreamed of it. It's thrilling.
And there's all Paris. Paris from the top of the hill, stretched out at your feet.
Like a jeweled mantle.
Yes.
I can almost see it.
Happy?
Very.
A moment like this on such a night. Could anyone say anything against the world?
I couldn't.
You couldn't hate anyone, could you, on such a night?
No?
You could forgive anyone, anything?
I think so.
Helen, could you forgive Bob Merrick?
Yes. I forgave you long ago.
You've known?
I've thought so. At times, lately I was sure.
Helen, I love you. You know that, too, don't you?
It's wonderful that you care enough for me to be so kind. I know now what you've done for me. Everything. About the money, the doctor.
Well, it was only because I love you so much. You care for me, don't you, a little?
You know I do.
Then let me be with you always. Marry me, Helen.
Marry you. And have you pitied because of me?
No, don't say that, darling. Life with you is what I want. It's all I want. We'll be two of the happiest people in the world.
I'm sure we ought to be.
Oh, darling.
How can I ever repay you for all this?
You can't, darling. I've used it all up.
What did you say? You've used it all up.
No, it's nothing. Helen, there's something I want to tell you. Something that'll make you laugh, I guess. Do you remember that day in the park, the day you took me to be a doctor?
I remember.
Well, that day I decided to be a doctor. To become what you'd mistaken me for, and I've been doing it. I've been studying again.
You've been... And you thought I'd laugh at that. Oh, my dear, that's wonderful.
Well, I'm going to try. There's no harm in that, is there?
Oh, and you'll succeed. I know you will.
Well, I'm going to stay in Europe and work. And with you to help me.
Help you?
We'll be together, darling. That's the greatest help in the world. What are you thinking of?
Nothing, dear.
We will be together, won't we?
Of course. Let's go home, shall we, darling? Excuse me, is this the ticket office?
Oui, mademoiselle. The Travelers Bureau.
Yes, that's what I need. Now, I'd like a ticket on the boat train to Cherbourg, please, and a passage on the first steamer to America.
Oui, mademoiselle. Will you sign your name on this, please?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. If you'll just place my hand exactly where I'm to sign.
Mademoiselle?
Yes, I can't see.
Oh, pardon, mademoiselle.
Now, you'll have to furnish me with a guide of some sort. That can be arranged, can't it?
Of course, but is mademoiselle traveling alone?
Yes, I'm traveling alone.
We pause for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is KMX, Los Angeles, the voice of Hollywood.
Robert Taylor and Irene Dunne continue with Magnificent Obsession shortly. But now it's our privilege to present in the Lux Radio Theater Dr. Lloyd Douglas, the author of this great story. Dr. Douglas, a minister for 30 years, became famous for sermons of extraordinary pictorial character. Then he turned novelist, and from his pen have come Magnificent Obsession and Green Light, both national bestsellers. It's now my honor to extend the stage of the Lux Radio Theater to New York City. From Hollywood, I welcome and introduce Dr. Lloyd Douglas, who will speak to you from New York.
Good evening, Mr. DeMille, and thank you. I appreciate being asked to contribute to this program. I feel indebted to Miss Dunne and Mr. Taylor for their sympathetic and artistic interpretation of this book. And I'm also indebted to the Lux Radio Theater for wanting to pay this tribute to my story. Magnificent Obsession, while in no sense a tract, was not written solely for entertainment. It is a purpose novel. The book had a peculiar history. In 1928, while I was still in the pulpit, I became possessed of an idea that seemed to demand a wider hearing than I could give it through that medium, and resolved to put it into a story. Amateur novelists often rig up a plot dealing with things they know almost nothing about, so I did that. My story involved brain surgery, and what I didn't know about that was aplenty. For instance, in the story I wrote that Helen was in an accident and struck blind. That was easy, but to explain it, I had to call up a brain specialist and ask him where she had been hit. Casting about at random for names of my characters, I called one of the young surgeons whom I was sending abroad to do some scientific research, Dr. Dawson. I chose the name mostly because I knew no Dawsons. After the book had been out some months, my daughter Virginia met a young surgeon in Paris who was over there engaged in scientific research. Later, she married him. His name was Dawson. This novel brought me a great deal of mail, letters from all sorts of people. Invariably, what they wanted to ask was this: what can I do to build up my personal fitness by improving the personal fitness of others? Is it true that what I do for other people must be kept absolutely secret or the thing won't work? Do you believe this yourself, or were you just writing a story? And then I would tell them quite honestly that I wasn't just writing a story for the sake of the story, and that the thing would work if they gave it a fair chance. Hundreds wrote that they had tried it and found it practical. They were always careful not to say exactly what they had done, for that would have been telling. Perhaps you may want to try it sometime. Goodbye.
Dr. Douglas, you have our thanks. We're back now on our stage in Hollywood, where Irene Dunne and Robert Taylor resume the story of Magnificent Obsession. "6 years have passed. Helen Hudson, hidden away from the world and her friends, has been living in quiet obscurity in a small Virginia town. But her health has gone, and we find her now in a tiny hospital room where the nurse has been reading her a newspaper article.
Go on, please. You mustn't excite yourself.
Oh, I must hear the rest of it.
Very well, but please don't try to move. When Dr. Robert Merrick returns to America next month, he brings with him the keenest surgical mind in the field of medicine. In 6 short years, his work has uncovered a startling array of new medical facts, dealing particularly with surgery of the brain. Oh, I don't think we should read any more.
He's done it. I knew he would. I told him he would.
Please.
And now he's coming back. Dr. Robert. Dr. Robert Merrick.
Nancy, there he is. Bob, over here, Bob.
Nancy, Joyce.
Oh, Bob, I'm so glad to see you.
No more than I am to see you.
Where's your luggage?
Oh, it's on its way to the hotel.
Hotel? You're coming home with us. Come on, the car's over here. You'll never know how proud we are of you, Bob.
Oh, Nancy, you're a flatterer.
We've all been basking in your reflected glory. You see, we like to think that you sort of belong to us.
Well, I do, Joyce. Nancy, you're my real friends. Oh, if you hadn't met me at the boat, I swear it wouldn't have seemed like a homecoming at all.
It almost seems like old times.
Yes. No, it isn't. Nothing will ever be like old times until I know where Helen is.
You've never heard anything, Bob?
No. And you?
Nothing. We would have let you know.
Yes, of course.
Welcome home, Dr. Merrick.
Thank you, Keller.
Is Dr. Merrick's room ready, Keller?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, there's a gentleman to see you, sir.
Already?
The price of fame.
He's in the living room, sir.
Excuse me, Joyce. Nancy.
Of course.
Dr. Merrick.
Yes?
I'm glad to see you back again. It's almost as though you've been sent, as you were sent to me before.
Oh, I'm afraid I'm sorry.
You don't remember me? My cottage. You came there and we...
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, I knew you're
the stone cutter.
Of course. How do you do? It was rather a long time ago, and so much has happened.
Yes. You've come a long way. I never dreamed that the path I pointed out to you would lead so far.
What?
Oh, please don't think I want to share your glory. I was only a medium.
Oh, yes, I remember. You were working on, you had some sort of theory.
Theory?
Yes, expanding your personality. Getting power to get whatever you want by giving away your money and something about a page in the Bible, as I remember it.
As you remember? You mean you haven't practiced it?
No.
But I've heard how much you've done for people, how you've helped them in the slums.
Oh, that. Well, you see, I'd lost someone who meant a great deal to me. I was always afraid she might be alone, friendless. So whenever I put out my hand to anyone, it was with the hope that maybe someone would do the same for her.
You did it for a woman. Christ did it for humanity. That's the only difference. I feel more than ever now the real purpose of my visit.
What is it?
2 weeks ago, I was called to Virginia to select the marbles for the state capitol. While there, I learned that the widow of an old friend of mine was in a dangerous condition, in a state of coma. The doctors say it's caused by a growth pressing upon her brain. The same growth, they felt, was the cause of her having been blind for many years.
Blind? Who is she? Who is this woman?
Helen Hudson.
Helen? Are you sure? Nancy! Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Oh, thank God.
Bob!
Nancy, we found her. We found Helen. We found her, Nancy.
We'll be ready in a moment, Dr. Merrick.
Let me know, nurse.
Well, Bob?
No, don't come near me, Nancy. We're almost ready to operate.
Oh, who's going to do it?
I am.
Oh, Bob.
Would you like to see her? She's still in a semi-coma. Come in.
Helen, dear.
I'm not. She's speaking.
It's raining. It's raining awfully hard. But I must get away before the others wake up. I must hurry. hard to write when you're blind. Won't the rain ever stop? Robert, darling, it's so wonderful that you're going to be a doctor. Oh, I mustn't be in your way, a burden on you. I'm going away. My life is over now. I'm going away alone in the darkness.
You're ready, Dr. Merrick. Dr. Merrick?
Oh. Take her into the operating room. I'll be there in just a moment.
Dr. Merrick.
Oh, Randolph.
I've been waiting for you. Is it over?
Yes. She's all right. She'll live.
And her eye?
I don't know. We haven't taken the bandage off yet. I'm going to do that now.
God bless you, my son.
Thank you. Oh, and Randolph.
Yes?
I found that page in the Bible.
Who's there? Is someone there?
Don't move, Helen.
Who is it? Is it?
Yes, dear.
Oh, Robert.
Now, I'm going to take the bandage off your eyes.
Oh.
Please don't open them for a moment. Then open them slowly. Now. Helen, can you see?
Yes. A ray of light.
A ray of light. Oh, darling, soon that ray will grow stronger. And as each day passes, we'll see more and more until one day...
Until one day, I shall see you, my darling.
We close the covers of our play, but our microphone will bring back Irene Dunne and Robert Taylor before this hour's over. Most people picture the ace Hollywood cameraman as a rough and ready sort of fellow who wears leather puttees and his cap on backward while he rushes about the studio breathing fire and carrying his camera over one shoulder. Actually, a head cameraman never operates a camera. His entire job and its artistic importance cannot be overestimated is to chart with a director the photographing of scenes and supervising lighting effects. Our guest, John Arnold, cranked his first camera for Thomas A. Edison back in 1903. Since then, he's figured in the shooting of more than 1 billion feet of film. And today is head of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's camera department, president of the American Society of Cinematographers, and one of the most valuable photographers the industry has ever known. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Arnold.
Thank you, C.B. The biggest job a cameraman has today is to photograph the stars' personalities, so to speak, as well as their faces.
Now, will you explain why each star is a different photographic problem?
Gladly. Take the matter of lighting, for instance. A star is presented at her best only through a carefully studied blend of lights, colors, and shadows. A blonde appears best against soft, diffused lights. A brunette against strong, bright lights. Dark clothes do not photograph effectively against dark backgrounds, nor light clothes against light backgrounds. Contrast, remember, is what enhances beauty. Psychology also plays a big part. The cameraman studies each star and also learns what color tone blends with her personality. For example, Jean Harlow, in Making Personal Property with Robert Taylor, was filmed under white lights, which go best with her fair complexion, and Myrna Loy under violet-tinted lamps in her latest picture, Parnell, co-starring Clark Gable. Lights also have great effect in creating mood. To emphasize the somber atmosphere of Robert Montgomery's new film, Night Must Fall, we use dim lights throughout the entire picture.
Well, you've heard us make the statement many times on this program, John, that 9 out of 10 stars use Lux toilet soap.
Yes, and I know it to be a fact.
Then perhaps you can answer a question asked by several listeners. If the stars have perfect complexions, why is it necessary for them to use makeup in pictures?
Because a star, when playing a scene, becomes so intent on what she's doing that nature plays a little trick on her. The blood either rushes to her face or rushes away from her face. She becomes flushed or pale. With makeup, this reaction is hidden. The only ones who don't actually need makeup are a few male stars like Robert Taylor, Clark Gable, and Spencer Tracy, whose natural tan takes its place. In fact, Mr. Tracy used no makeup at all in filming Captains Courageous. I assure you, no one appreciates a fine, clear complexion more than a cameraman, for then he's able to make full use of close-up shots that would reveal the slightest flaws in skin texture if they existed, makeup or no makeup. I've recommended Lux Toilet Soap to stars and extra girls alike for years. I know of nothing better or simpler to use for keeping a smooth, healthy complexion that's always ready for even the most candid camera. Many thanks, CB, and goodbye.
Thank you for your candid opinion. Each week in the Lux Radio Theater, I look forward to this moment when I can introduce our stars as their real selves. And I know you share the particular pleasure I have in inviting two such personalities as Irene Dunne and Robert Taylor back to the microphone.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille. And as for you, Bob, I want to say what a great thrill it's been to have played up a session against you again.
The story means a lot to me, Irene. As a picture, it gave me my first big break, thanks to your help, which meant just as much to me tonight as it did then.
I've just learned, Bob, you're going to become a singer in your new picture, Broadway Melody of 1937.
I'd hope to keep that a secret, Mr. DeMille. Sophie Tucker's been wearing herself out coaching me, so I guess I'll have to go through with it after all.
Well, there's no time like the present.
Oh, no. There's only one singer on this program, and that's you, Irene. Now, what's it going to be?
Oh, well, I don't know. Do you think it's a good idea, Mr. DeMille?
A great idea. Why not a song from your new Paramount picture, High, Wide, and Handsome?
Well, all right. I'll sing The Folks Who Live on the Hill by Mr. Kern and Oscar Hammerstein.
Great, Irene.
Thanks, Bob. And now just a word about the people who are behind this program. I think we owe them a great deal, not only for the entertainment they provide, but for a beauty care so fairly reliable as Lux Toilet Soap. Water and Lux Soap are all anyone needs to keep a clear, healthy complexion. I'm glad to say that. And sorry, I must say good night.
Good night, Mr. DeMille.
Come back soon, both of you. You've heard her on the screen, starring in such hits as Private Worlds, It Happened One Night, Cleopatra, The Bride Comes Home, and Maid of Salem. You've heard her 3 times from our stage. And next Monday night, your countless requests bring her back once again when the Lux Radio Theater presents Paramount's lovely star, Miss Claudette Colbert, in Hands Across the Table by Vinya Del Mar. With Miss Colbert in this delightful comedy is one of Hollywood's favorite sons, Mr. Joel McCrea. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Claudette Colbert and Joel McRae with Walter Pigeon in Hands Across the Table. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood.
The announcer has been Melville Ruick. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is KNX, the Columbia Station, Los Angeles.